Introducing the Common Core Coach ELA for grades 1 through high school. This training session will focus on grades 3 through 8, and we will do a separate video for grades 1 and 2, as well as High School C3 American and World Lit and the High School Composition text. Today we will review the highlights of the 4 strands for ELA in the Common Core Standards. The anchor standards or the basic information will be provided, and of course the components for this incredible resource. Finally, we'll address the sales positioning for the product as well. It is important to highlight the 4 strands of the Common Core State Standards so that you understand the academic goals met in this product. I will share the key bullets of each of these strands, and during this brain chart you will be able to connect the evidence that you see on these 2 slides with the product. The strand of reading is divided into reading literature, reading informational text, and foundational skills for reading in the lower levels. The writing strand incorporates 10 standards at each grade level and highlights them are follows. For reading, the standards require a variety of text to be read with a growing ability to read complex text. Students must make connections between the text and consider a wide range of text evidence. The standards also describe specific expectations in reading required at a grade level by the year's end. For writing, the standards acknowledge that students must plan, revise, edit, and publish in multiple types of writing. Other skills are more defined in terms of specific writing types. Arguments, opinion in elementary, arguments in middle grades, informative and explanatory text for all levels, and narratives. Standard 9 specifically stresses the writing-reading connection as students write about evidence in literary and informational text. And finally, expectations are clear with each standard for the year-end expectations. Speaking and listening is an ELA strand that really involves reading and writing as well. There are 6 standards at each grade level to teach in this area. These 2 bullets highlight what to consider within our product. For speaking and listening, standards require students to develop and broadly use oral vocabulary and oral communication in interpersonal skills. Students also work together, express and listen to ideas, use various media sources, and visual displays to build communication skills and adapt speech. For the language conventions, these standards include essential rules of standards in written and spoken English, and that's considered a matter of craft. The vocabulary standards focus on words and phrases and their relationships. There is a focus on academic and domain-specific words and phrases. Now we are going to move into the components of the program. Within each grade level 3 through 8, there is a student book, a teacher's manual, an assessment student book, and a teacher answer key. Student edition features include genre-specific reading and writing lessons that are alternated within the text. Each lesson incorporates the gradual release of responsibility model of instruction. These lessons cover logical clusters of skills and strategies using reading passages and/or mentor text for writing. I do, we do, you too. That's the gradual release approach. Speaking and listening is woven throughout the text with rubrics to assess, and there are additional specific lessons in the teacher manual. 4-color, high-interest reading passages of appropriate length are available in each of our books. And there's a writing handbook at the back of the student edition, which is a guide to functional text. Also, each student edition features a student glossary. Teacher's manual features include a Common Core State Standard correlation chart that matches the standards to the lessons. In addition, a robust instructional support for each lesson is offered, and modeling and think aloud support each lesson of reading and writing instruction. Within the Share and Learn section, learning checklist for guiding group instruction is evident. There are roles for student groups provided and reproducible note sheets for student record keeping. There are rubrics for grading open-ended responses within the text and collaborative speaking and listening tasks with rubrics included. As we view a student lesson, the introduction shows a visual, an engaging colorful image, and a discussion question. Essential questions begin and end each lesson, and there is an open-ended question about the genre focus which sets the purpose for the text. The first part of the student lesson for reading is called the Listen and Learn. This is the modeling phase for the teacher. She models what a proficient reader does, as well as introducing the strategies and focus skills. At the end of the one or two passages, depending on what the reading lesson focus is, there will be a comprehension check. Also, a vocabulary word activity which will introduce the second part of the lesson. Notice the sidebar features within the modeling phase. Students have their books and they read along and follow as the teacher's modeling and introducing the important focus skills and strategies that you see here. The next section of any reading lesson is considered the Share and Learn. Share and Learn is the second part of the gradual release, the We Do section, where students work in peer groups to read, discuss, and write about previously modeled focus skills. Within this section, you're going to see highlighted vocabulary, sidebars that now require responses as students acquire the skills, footnotes on student pages for grades 6 through 8, vocabulary checks, and a comprehension check as students discuss key components of what they've just read together. The third part of a Common Core Coach ELA reading lesson, grades 3 through 8, is the Read on Your Own. Read on Your Own is where students are assigned an independent passage at their prime independent reading level, and this comes from the hard copies in the independent leveled assessment book, or they are available digitally as well. As you'll note below on the slide, one title passage is offered for each reading lesson, but that one titled passage is available at 3 different reading levels. This differentiates the mastery of the skills by content. Questions for the title remain the same across any readability level, as our expectations are the same within the standards. Writing lessons within the Common Core Coach ELA, grades 3 through 8, always begin with an introduction, a visual, and an essential question. Within the grades 3 through 8 writing lesson, the teacher will begin by modeling. She'll use a visual organizer to define the focused writing lesson and the mentor text. The mentor text you'll note here is highlighted in a bluish purple tone, and this is where the teacher reads aloud the text. What's interesting about the mentor text in grades 3 through 8, it is used primarily throughout the entire writing lesson to model what a good writer does. And please note that the mentor texts in these levels are written by students. Before beginning the writing process instruction, there will be a vocabulary study as well. This will highlight a standard focus skill. In this case, you're looking at a slide that highlights Greek and Latin roots. Notice the mini lesson begins at the top to explain what the focus and skill is for the vocabulary lesson, and then we ask the students to return to the mentor text to now practice that skill. The next part of the writing lesson introduces the steps in the writing process. Students will work through the independent writing process with support from graphic organizers and student and teacher instruction. There will be a writing prompt provided as well. Once the process begins, the students will work through organizing or brainstorming, and they will always see the graphic organizer as you see here on the left. It will be completed with information from the mentor text, and then students are asked to try it on the right side of each part of the lesson. They work through, check with peers, and have support with the teacher instruction. In the writing process steps, students will have several mini lessons offered. Writer's craft and language focus lessons will be a part of the writing process. Each lesson contains 2 writer's craft mini lessons and 1 language focus lesson. The writer's craft lessons will be a part of the processes of brainstorming, drafting, and revising. The language lessons will be a part of the editing phase. Our customers always want to know what type of assessments there are within our products. Common Core Coach ELA offers 4 benchmark assessments. They are sporadic through the text as called for by the standards. There is 1 summative assessment, and you will see a mix of multiple choice, open-ended, and essay questions. Remember, our assessments are available in print or optional online. A major component for the curriculum is to consider the key instruction that takes place for reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and of course the language conventions that are integrated into the text. Throughout C3 ELA, there is strong vocabulary support, and it implements flexible, collaborative instruction. Common Core state standards call for communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. Just what you see in Common Core ELA. What are some sales features for the Common Core Coach ELA? Well, it's a must-have for the Common Core implementation states, of course. It is also aligned to the standards, or correlated, if you will, 100% to the standards and the College and Career Ready Anchor standards. It incorporates the best instruction model called the gradual release, and it offers year-long instruction. It supports teachers with robust professional learning in the teacher manual, and there are rigorous student expectations provided. The close reading that occurs throughout all the lessons, the differentiated independent reading passages, the effective guiding of students through the standards of their writing expectations, and of course the formative and summative assessments to monitor progress. All of these are key features. Within Common Core Coach, the product may be positioned in every Common Core classroom, of course, after-school programs, state and district sales, and school sales. It can be used as a core product or as a supplement to a current core beautifully.